What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Kalosthenics. I'm Kevin. Today, we're going to be covering part 2 of our Master the Planche series. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll post the link below so you can watch it first. In this video, we're going to be covering the science of the planche, helping you achieve the planche in the shortest time possible. We're going to talk about wrist strength, wrist flexibility, the hollow body position, and what straight arm strength is. So stay tuned. Hope you like the video. So Anton, you're one of the few people that I personally know who can do a planche. Can you explain to our viewers what the planche is and why it's so difficult to do?
Yeah, Kevin. So the planche is a gymnastics movement, and it involves you holding your body horizontal above the ground, using your arms as a lever, straight out. Now, there are multiple reasons why the planche is a difficult move, starting with the lever. Now, whenever you're holding your arms straight out, instead of moving them, such as in a concentric or eccentric movement, you have little to no overlap between muscle fibers. So it's one of the most difficult positions to be in. Now, whenever you're in an isometric position, there are going to be two responses from your body. One is going to be muscle fiber recruitment, and the second one is going to be your central nervous system trying to send more impulses to hold that position. And another reason why the planche is such a difficult move is because the torque comes from the shoulders. Now, in order to fully understand how much load it places on the shoulders, let's talk about the shoulder joint for a little bit. The shoulder joint is a ball and socket joint, and it's just like it sounds. It's a ball inside of a socket. Now, opposed to the hips, the shoulders are a shallow ball and socket joint, which means the ball is not very far inside the socket, which is nice when it comes to mobility and when it comes to range of motion, but it also makes it an unstable joint, and it makes it very prone to injuries.
I see. So you mentioned straight arm strength. Can you define what that is?
Yeah. So I want to say that whenever somebody talks about a planche, you'll hear three phrases being repeated over and over again. One is straight arm strength, second one is shoulders over wrists, and the third one is hollow back. Now, those three phrases you really have to understand if you're going to make the planche happen for it. Now, let's define straight arm strength here and now. Straight arm strength is the amount of force you can apply to an object and the duration of time you can apply that force for in order to overcome the force of gravity.
I see. So Anton, what would you recommend to someone who's just starting to train for the planche, like muscles involved, other stuff you need, requirements?
Well, we really need to understand the amount of stress the wrists are going to see, and a little bit about wrist flexibility in order to fully understand how much load is going to be placed on your wrist. So let's move over here, and I'm going to talk about wrist flexibility a little bit. So nobody is really born with very flexible wrists, so it's kind of something you have to develop. So I'm going to start out with my wrists straight out. So using my arms as a lever and my wrist straight out, essentially what this position does is it places a lot of the load demand on the tricep. Now, as I begin to transition into a supinated wrist position, it's going to replace that load. It's going to transition it over to the bicep. Now, most people are not very comfortable in a supinated position. So essentially what you're going to have to do is work your way up to be comfortable in that position. And the way you do that, there are various ways you can do that, but I recommend starting with just a normal push-up and placing more stress on the wrist. The way you do that is just get in a push-up position, and then what we're going to do is we're going to walk our shoulders over our wrists, just like that.
So those are called the planche leans, right?
Yes.
And we lean as forward as we
lean as forward as we can. But what's very essential to this position is that you want to lean forward as much as you can, that you're feeling a lot of discomfort, but no pain. Now you have to distinguish what that means for your body type. So discomfort is good. We need to overcome discomfort. Pain is bad. Pain is gonna put you out for a few days.
So, and you're doing this with the hollow body position. Can you
Yes.
explain what that is?
So let's talk about the hollow body, because there's no way you're gonna be able to do a planche without understanding the hollow body. So the hollow body basically means that we're gonna put, so if we're standing in just in a push-up position, our shoulders are gonna be leveled with our back. In a hollow body, we wanna bring the shoulders down, and we're gonna have all those big muscles attached to the scapula, brought up and around the shoulders. So our shoulder is gonna come down, and all those muscles are just gonna wrap around it, providing a nice little nest for that ball to rest against. Now I'm gonna demonstrate what the hollow body is, and I want you to pay close attention to what my back and what my shoulders are doing. So currently, I'm not in a hollow body position. My shoulders are leveled to my back, and there isn't much support. So now I'm gonna come into a hollow body. That's a hollow body. Do you notice how my shoulders just came down and how my back muscles are wrapping around?
Yes.
So
yes.
no hollow body, hollow body.
Gotcha. And that puts less strain on your lower back, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So thanks for showing what the hollow body position is. Can you explain the importance of breathing through all of this?
Yeah, Kevin. Breathing is extremely important because whenever your body demands energy, it's gonna look in your blood for ATP, which is the most basic form of energy. ATP stands for Adenosine Triphosphates, and it's gonna break one of those phosphates to release energy. However, you only have enough ATP in your body for a very, very limited amount of time, maybe a couple of seconds. So if you wanna hold a planche, a straddle planche, or whatever for more than a few seconds, you're gonna have to search for a little bit of aerobic energy and not be fully dependent on your anaerobic energy.
Your anaerobic and your aerobic. So your aerobic is oxygen, anaerobic is...
Exactly.
Gotcha, gotcha, cool. Can you show us some of the... So now that we know that breathing is very important, can you show us some of the exercises you get to the planche for a beginner? Because I'm still training.
Yeah, definitely, Kevin. So as a beginner, I would definitely start with first being able to hold the position where your shoulders are over your wrists for a while. So basically what I would do is come down and then stack my shoulders over my wrists and kind of see how that feels. And I will rock back and forth, and I'll rock side to side just to find my stability. Everybody's stability point is gonna be a little bit different. So get to know your body, get to know your stability point. Once I'm done with that, I will do some planche push-ups. So in a planche position where your shoulders are stacked over your wrist, you just do a few push-ups.
Are you doing this with the hollow body position or without the hollow body?
The hollow body is essential to everything. So make sure you're in a hollow body position before you do your push-ups.
Okay, got it.
If you're just starting out, the hollow body is gonna be difficult. You're gonna feel uncomfortable. So maybe you can ignore it if you're just trying to get your wrists to strengthen up. One thing I didn't do, but I'll definitely recommend doing, is work on your wrist flexibility to start off with. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a planche push-up, except with supinated wrists. We're going to turn our wrists over, keep them close to the body, hollow body, and do a few push-ups.
How many do you usually do? Do you do like 3 sets, or how often do you do this?
It kind of really depends on you. Obviously, how much output you're getting is a function of how much you're putting in. So the more you do it, the better results you're gonna get.
Gotcha.
However, at some point, you're not gonna have very much strength. So just as a baseline, let's go with 3 to 4 sets of, obviously when you start off, you're not gonna be able to do 30. So start off with 3, 5, 8, whatever your abilities are, and just work your way up.
So do as many as you can
Do
until
as you can.
until fatigue.
Yeah.
And then you can't do any. Okay. Okay.
Exactly. And the next thing I'm going to show you is a supinated planche push-up with the hollow back. And that's something that you have to work your way into, because you won't just pick it up. So we're going to supinate our wrists, shoulders stacked over wrists, hollow back, and do a few of these.
While breathing, always breathing, not holding the breath.
Always breathing. So let's say you can do 20 of these and you're finally ready to see what it feels like to hold your full body weight above ground. What we're gonna do is get into a halfway supinated push-up and lift. Take flight.
Wow. So that I've actually seen that move done somewhere. I think that's called the elbow lever, correct?
It is called an elbow lever, depending if you're asking somebody who's doing calisthenics, gymnastics, or yoga, because they all have their different terminologies. But yeah.
Okay, and that's basically a planche, but your arms are bent.
Exactly.
Okay.
As I talked at the beginning, whenever your arms are straight out, you have no overlap between your muscle fibers. But now that I'm in this position, I have quite a bit of overlap. So I have to apply the same amount of force, but with more overlap between muscle fibers. That's why it's easier, but it does give you an idea of what it takes to do a planche.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there other exercises that you can do that are not so hard to strengthen your lower back for that? Can you show us some?
Yeah, I mean, one of the very well known is the Superman. So you can kind of just lay down and pick your legs off the ground. But another one I like to do, and this one actually comes from yoga, is what I'm gonna do is lay completely flat on the ground, and then I'm gonna tuck my arms in under my hips, and then I'm just gonna lift one leg up. And I'm gonna hold that for a while, let it down, pick the other one up.
How long would you hold this to someone who's just beginning and training for the planche? As long as they can, or do you do also sets and reps?
Of that particular one, I don't do sets and reps. I'll do it maybe 2 to 3 times, hold it for 30 seconds to a minute, just to kind of get your lower back working.
On each leg, so 1 minute?
On each leg, yeah,
Okay, so,
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And make sure, just with everything, make sure that you're breathing through it. That's gonna make all the difference.
Okay, so and the Superman is this exercise where you have your feet off the ground and you go like this, right? Is that the one that you're talking about?
The one I'm talking about is where you're actually laying on the ground and you can have your arms out, and what you're gonna do is just pick your legs up using your lower back.
Okay, gotcha, thank you. Okay, so you talked about how you want to go from the tuck planche to the advanced tuck planche to the L-sit to straddle planche, and you said that that's going to take a while, but how long would it take for someone who is, in say good decent shape, or what's your opinion on that?
My opinion is that it's extremely difficult to tell somebody it's going to take you a year to get to a planche, because it's a function of one, where you're starting, and two, how much you're willing to put in. how much of your heart are you gonna put into this movement? How much time are you gonna spend on it? So it's very difficult. I can only speak for myself, and I would say it took me about 5 to 6 months to get to a straddle planche. And from the straddle planche, and I'll say this, once you hit a straddle planche, you're gonna go and tell everybody that you can do a planche. Just to realize that you can do a full planche, because it's a lot harder to go from a straddle into a full planche. So it took me probably another good 6 to 7 months just to get from the straddle into the full planche.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And so now that once you master the straddle planche, how do you transition from that into the full planche? Because I see a lot of people, they max out at straddle planche and they just can't get the full planche. Do you have any tips for that?
I do know quite a few people that can do a straddle planche. They can even do straddle planche push-ups, and I was one of those people. I could do anywhere from 3 to 6 straddle planche push-ups, but I couldn't get myself to do a planche. And honestly, it's just, to me, what it takes is your response to failure. You're gonna fail, and if you just get frustrated, you're not gonna be able to progress. So it's really failing and learning from that failure. What gave out? Was it my shoulders? Was it my legs? Was it my core? So being able to kind of suppress the frustration and have a lessons learned, that's gonna take you from the straddle planche to a full planche. There isn't a magic trick, there isn't a magic thing that you can do in order to get it. It's mostly a mindset of knowing that you're gonna fail a lot and how you respond to that failure.
Yeah, persistence is key.
Persistence is key.
Yeah, yeah. I like that one quote where they talk about, I've never heard of a winner quitting, and I've never heard of a quitter winning.
Yep, exactly.
Like yeah.
Just don't quit, keep doing it, and come in every day thinking that you're gonna get it. Because if you come in and you think that you're gonna fail, chances are you're gonna fail.
Right, it's mental. With that being said, what about, like, how often should you train? If we start on Monday, would you train every day for the planche, or would you take a day off, or how often, how many days a week do you train, and how long, how many hours?
Well, Kevin, I'm really glad you asked that question, actually, because I think everybody needs to understand the super compensation principle. So let's say I was a novice and I came in here and I did some planche push-ups and I trained for 30 minutes, and then I did the same thing tomorrow and I did the same thing the day after tomorrow. What you need to understand is that your body's performance is actually gonna come down almost linearly. So your performance is actually gonna decay. It's kind of counterintuitive thing is you do something and you expect to get better the next day, but you get worse. But what actually happens is that you don't get better at it until you give a proper rest and a proper time for recovery for your body, for your central nervous system. And so what I would say is come in for a day, 2 days, maybe 3 days, and really just listen to your body. It's the simplest concept that we have. Yeah, everybody fails to do it because they would rather listen to somebody on YouTube giving a general statement like work out for 3 days and take 2 days off, rather than just being able to listen to your own body.
Gotcha. So you don't want to overtrain. You don't want to do it every single day, but what you're saying is to take a couple days off and even more if you have to.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
And that brings me into the next principle is you don't want to overtrain, but you want to overreach. The difference is that overreaching means that every day you try to do something a little bit more than the day you did previously. Overtraining means you beat your body to crap and you keep going.
Gotcha.
Overreach, but don't overtrain.
Gotcha. Always strive to be better than yesterday, but also listen to your body. Thank you. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment below, and remember to eat healthy, remember to get enough rest, and until next time, this is Kalosthenics. I'm Kevin. See y'all later.